Hi, good morning. This is Brendan. Thank you all for joining us on time. We will start the webinar very soon. I see a lot of people starting to flood into the webinar. Okay, we are at 26 now and counting. Thank you very much for joining us on on a Friday wet morning. I hope you are well and cozy in your office, or if you're working from home or working anywhere, make yourself a nice cup of coffee. And then, yeah, we shall start our webinar in a few more seconds as we have more people trickling in. Quite a fair bit of people already. Well, it's a certainly a good Friday, right? With a wet morning. I mean, this morning itself, I didn't want to, bring myself to the office to do this webinar as well. Because when I see the rain, it was so good to sleep in. Yeah. But it's quite a unusual scenario for now to be raining so much. I thought that this is the hot season or the summer of Singapore, but unfortunately, it's raining so much. Okay, yeah, we have reached the attendees, that we want already. So let's kickstart the meeting today. Hi, good morning again. My name is Brendan. Okay, I'm the Solution Sales Manager. So my partner in crime for today is Kwan Long. He's our solution consultant that is in charge of the smart proof of delivery system that you are going to see live today. So without further ado, I shall start kick off the webinar today. Okay, so this webinar is going to happen for 1 hour. So before I start the webinar as well, let me just do a little bit of housekeeping. So please be reminded that all of you are muted, by default, okay? So if you have any burning questions that you want to answer, you want to ask, feel free to use the Q&A button at the bottom of the Zoom toolbar that you can see, or you can just use the chat group, because I'll be monitoring the chat group as well, and we will be taking some of your questions at the end of the session. So the whole webinar today is recorded, okay? So definitely we can share the link to you after the webinar. Please reach out to your account manager should you require the link to revisit what we have spoken today, or even share with some of your colleagues of what you have seen today. Okay, and last but not the least, as you exit the webinar later on, 1 hour from now, there will be a short 3-question feedback at the end of the session. So these 3 questions will help us a long way to improve the experience of our webinar that we are carrying out for you. Okay, so please help me to answer the webinar. Okay, so let's start off the session. Okay, let me talk about the agenda that we will be covering today. So first off, I'll be talking about the document lifecycle in Canon. Okay, of course, at the end of the day, we are here all to hear about order processing, about proof of delivery. So I will touch a little bit about the ordering processing workflow, as well as the common issues that proof of delivery poses in today's scenario, okay, in today's world, okay. And of course, the main draw of today's is the live demo that will be done by Kwan Long. And of course, I will end off with some of the benefits or the summary of what you have seen. And of course, we will take on some of the questions at the end of the day. Okay, so let me just begin with the document lifecycle. So I'm sure all of you here are Canon customers. You know about Canon machines. Okay, at the heart of our core of our business is actually definitely our copier machines, as you can see on the bottom right hand side of your screen. Okay, so we have a lot of software and solutions to manage the devices. So assuming if let's say you are in a company where you have more than one devices and you would like to manage the devices on who can print, setting quotas and stuff like that, you can actually impose some of this print management software by the name of Uniflow, EquiTrack, or PaperCut. Okay, these are the products that we carry. But of course, in the solutions business that we are showing you today, we are not talking about the print management software, but we are merely talking about the office automation software. Okay, so in the office automation, we look at documents as a start. Okay, so in the document itself, when you create a document, when you take out a notepad and you start writing with a piece of pen and a paper, that is document creation at its core. But in today's world, document creation most often doesn't start from a pen and paper anymore. Okay, it starts from powering up your Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office, okay, application, or Excel or PowerPoint, or even Outlook. When you create an email, that is the creation of the document. From after you create, okay, you need to then capture this information and make meaningful information and capture meaningful information out of it. Okay, and after that, you have to manage the document, process, distribute, and lastly, in the life cycle itself, the retirement of the document, the shredding of the document, okay, the destroyal of the document itself. So in the entire spectrum of the document life cycle, Canon has something to offer. Okay, so starting from the create and capture, we actually partner with Microsoft. I'm sure nobody here, you know, will not know about Microsoft. Okay, so Microsoft 365 and its platform is our partner as well. So of course, we also work with Abby, Iris, and Kofax, okay, to bring in the capturing solutions that you can see. Okay, what I mean by capturing solution is basically scanning a document, extracting the information, and pushing the digital information back into your backend system, and even storing a copy in your archival system. So that is what I mean by capturing. But of course, we are not going to show the capturing solution today. That is for another webinar. If you are keen on that, please look out to our emails later on. So today, the star of the show is actually our document management system called Therefore. Of course, we are within Therefore itself. Once you manage the document, we also work with partners like HelloSign and DocuSign to sign the documents digitally. As you know, in today's world, we are all working from anywhere, working from home, working from office sometimes. There will be documents that you need to sign. And in fact, today, a lot of businesses have been going towards a digital signing platform. And we actually work with HelloSign and DocuSign in this manner. Of course, another star of today is actually Planet Press Connect, which we will be seeing, okay, that will be powering the smart POD solutions that we have today. And of course, we have Easy Share, okay, this is for sharing of documents, of large documents. We work with UiPath and Power Automate to bring robotic process automation to our customers. And of course, at the end of the day, to protect the sanctity of your data, we work with ESET, okay, a network security company to manage and secure your documents. So let's start to talk about order processing, shall we? Okay, so in the order processing, a little bit different from how you go on to Shopee to buy something. Okay, when you start off in the organization, when you buy something, you don't just go to the platform and just click add to shopping basket and just click submit. Okay, it is a little bit different. Okay, how different? Basically, you have to start off with a purchase order. Okay, before you even generate a purchase order, maybe there's some approval of purchase requisition that you have to run within your company. So once you have cleared that, you can actually come up with a purchase order already. So you will send out this purchase order to the supplier. Okay, and once the supplier has received your purchase order, of course, they will process it and they will deliver the goods that you have wanted to buy, and then together with the delivery order, okay, or delivery note. So with that, you have to inspect the documents, inspect the products, and of course, sign off the DO. And once you have signed off the DO, naturally you can expect within a week or so, you will receive the invoice. And once you have received the invoice, typically in a B2B segment, you have 30 days credit terms, or even 60, or some even go up to 90 days credit term before you can make the payment. So that is typically on the buying process what you have to do. So on the opposite side of the spectrum, when you are a seller, when you are a supplier, okay, what do? You have to monitor the incoming purchase order. So the purchase order can come in all shapes and sizes from different companies, different formats as well. So once you have that, you have to key into your system, and then you have to generate the DO. So the DO, before it is being tag on to the products that you are selling, you will send the DO directly to the warehouse first for them to pick up the goods. And then from there, they will pack, and then they will make sure that it is packed into the truck before it is being sent out to your clients. Okay. So of course, after that, when the DO comes back to you, signed DO, you will process the signed DO and you will generate the invoice to be sent out to your clients. And lastly, after you send the invoice, of course, you have to monitor the payment. So in between these two flows itself, there's a lot of document flows or data that flows from one another. From the PO, you can see the PO data coming from the seller, a buyer to the seller. And of course, the POD data comes vice versa, okay? The proof of delivery data. The invoice data has been sent from the seller to the buyer. And of course, we have to monitor. So within this process itself, the order processing process, there's a lot of people that will be involved in the processing and even the approval of such. And because of the complexity of this order processing, sometimes it causes a lot of delays, okay? Because the person goes on leave, the person cannot turn on the computer in time to see the documents. And even some documents, because we are relying on hard copy, some of the documents will get misplaced, okay? And there's a lot of time, even if everything goes on smoothly, there's a lot of backlog mostly that you have to key in the data from the paper into the system again. So there's a lot of time that is spent on matching the document and stuff like that. So today, we are not going to talk the entire spectrum, okay? We are just going to focus in the red box here, the order received, okay, when during the DO generation, and of course, the processing of the DO itself, okay, and how you generate out the subsequent invoice later on. So this will be what we will be showcasing to you. So the common issues on proof of delivery, okay, many companies are still using legacy ERP system, okay, and output to dot matrix printers. If you notice those with the perforated forms and then the very loud kind of a printing, so that is actually the dot matrix printing, okay. So some of the companies out there are still using these dot matrix printers, okay. And because of that, there's a lot of manual sorting and packing, because usually these dot matrix, there will be 2-ply, 3-ply, one for the finance, one for the warehouse, one for the customer, and one, I don't know for who, okay. So, and by the way, when you have this kind of, duplicated copies, there's a lot of sorting and a lot of processing that goes in the back end as well. Okay, and then of course, the hard copy DO needs to be processed and keyed it into the ERP to complete the entire delivery process. So this itself is taking a lot of time. And as I mentioned earlier, the longer you take to process the DO, the longer the time is needed for you to kickstart the invoicing process. And that will affect the cash flow of the company. So the faster you get to process this DO, the faster you can ask your clients to pay money. Okay, so that's the main idea of why we need to do a fast. And of course, usually when you send out the invoice to the customer, most likely they will ask you, I didn't make a purchase of this, or I didn't receive these goods, because the one that is processing the invoice usually is different from the end user or even the receiving warehouse. Okay, so they will tell you that, no, you have to give me the PO first, you have to give me the DO first. So there will be a need for you to do this kind of three-way matching and then generate it into a copy together with the invoice to be sent to the customer for fast processing. So this is what we will be showcasing to you today. Okay, so without further ado, let me just pass the time over to Kwan Long, okay, for the live demo of the system.
Hi, thanks, Brandon. Okay, let me switch to the demo screen. So before we start the demo, so I will show you a few screens that will be used in the demo. So this is a screen that will be so-called simulating a line of business system. Can be your legacy ERP system, can be your maybe Microsoft Dynamics that you use to so-called generate your DO. So the second screen I'm going to show you, which is a so-called dashboard, which will be used by the internal business user to monitoring the so-called in and out of the DO status. Okay. So this is an email box. This one actually represents the so-called customer mailbox that he will receive the so-called proof of delivery receipt after we done the transactions. So we back to the first screen. Okay. So we all know that in the companies, we are using a system to generate a DO into the dot matrix, right? So our smart or proof of delivery system, basically we convert this so-called analog way, a manual way, into a so-called digital way that using a tablet. So it is simulating the driver, to printing the DO into different driver. So for example, I print 4 DO to the printers. So in traditionally way, right, it's actually print to the dot matrix printers and in general into a multiply. So for this, we are printing to the dashboard. So while it is being printing to the dashboard, right, we can show to you how it's being monitored by the system. As you can see from the screens, right, it basically start to show out the DO is being churned out from the system. You can see, I just now print out 4 DO. Now I'm receiving 2. Yeah, 4 are being received already. And you can see from the status here, right, it's being like prepared for shipments or in transit. Basically, this is to show the different stages in the so-called DO preparation, like you're creating a pick list for the warehouse to do the stock pickings. And when it's in transit, right, means it's ready for delivery. And you can see actually my iWatch basically have some beep sound, right? It's a notification to tell that, yeah, the DO is being received and the driver is ready for the delivery. So now without any delay, I move to my tablet screen to show you how it was being so-called displayed in the tablets. So everyone can see here. So imagine, right, the driver bringing this tablet for the deliveries, right? So you can see there are 4 DO being assigned to this driver. So when I reach to the customer place, I just need to open up the DO. So this is a so-called interface that can be customized to show information that you want to see during a delivery, such as the DO number, like bill to who, ship to who. And we further scroll down, right, you can see there are a few items that need to be delivered, like 4 items, and the quantity is clearly stated here. So I check all the 4 items to be delivered. So important things that we need to customer to acknowledge will be their signature. So I just sign it. And I do the submissions. And you can see on the screens, right, there is a so-called amber color to show that it's transmitting to the back office. And now it turned green, means it's already being so-called process done successfully.
Oh, wow. Okay. That looks like it's a very, very interesting efficient manner to do this. But Kwan Long, I got a question first. Because usually, right, I don't think that most of the delivery will be so successful. Okay. There could be time whereby, there will be instances where, there will be spot item, there will be damaged item, there will be item that is totally ordered wrongly.
Yes.
Okay, so how do you then manage these kind of scenarios?
Okay, good questions. Let me show you how do we handle this kind of so-called abnormal delivery status. So now I switch back to my tablets. So imagine the driver now go to the second place, right? I have another 3 items to deliver. So I go to the second items. So again, it shows the DO information, right? Oh, okay, for this DO, I only need to deliver 1 item and the quantity is 3, right? So let's say I deliver 2. So I change the deliver item, instead of 3, I change to 2. Okay. At the same time, actually, we also can so-called record the picture of the delivery item. So I can select the item to be recorded. So I take a photo picture, taking my laptop. So I use the photo. So you can see this picture actually is being captured and being stored in the system. Yeah, we can also leave the comments over here to tell the back office what's the action that required to taken place. For example, I put in broken. Okay. So now I just do the submission. So of course, I require a customer to acknowledge and sign on whatever amendment that I did on the DO. So now I submit. So again, you can see from here, right? The amber color means it's transmitting to the back office. And when it turns green, actually our back office already receiving the so-called the feedback from our system. So now I switch back to the so-called the back office view to show you how do we monitoring the so-called delivery. Okay. So you can see on our screen just now we have a 4 item which is all a so-called gray out. So now you can see the 2 items are being updated. The first one being green color, which is fully completed, and the second one is amber color. So the amber color, you can see the status here, it shows need attention. So now I go into details and see what's happening inside. Okay, when we go into the details, right, you can see as a very summary view that delivery information need attention. This clearly tell the so-called the back office people, right, that this particular DOs, right, require a special attention to take notes. And you can see number of defect reported 1, quantity mismatch of product 1. Okay, you can further go down and see the product that received, right, it being highlighted instead of ordered 3, right, is being shipped by 2. Okay, so it's delivered. And just now we also taken a photo. You can see from here, for these particular items, the comment is broken. Then we can open up the picture and take a look what's happening. Okay. So at the same time, you can see from the right-hand side here, there is an attachment. Basically, this is the so-called PDF file that generated at the backend and sent to the customer to serve as an official delivery order that can be kept by the customer as a reference. So you can see this is a A4 PDF copy that show the super proper DO layout with the information that we just capture, like instead of 3, we deliver 2 and which we highlighted. The picture is taken that will be delivered by the customer.
Okay, Conlo, I've got another question here. Okay, this screen reminded me of something, but before that, right, I just want to say this is fabulous because the traditional way of you know, the dot matrix print out of those things definitely requires the receiving warehouse to scribble over it, you know, and cancel the, you know, manually cancel the data. So, but now you have a systematic way to even change the quantity or even take a picture. I think this is something that is very useful when it comes to proving that there is a certain defect to the products that has been delivered. I think this is brilliant. But another question, the burning question that I have is, a lot of customers tells me this question. They say that, hey, Brandon, I need company stamp on my document because the company stamp is needed for proving that it is the correct person that is signing the document, or it is the personnel from the customers that is signing the document. So how do you then handle, because this is an electronic copy, how do you then handle that?
Okay, basically for company stamp, the purpose for the stamp is actually to so-called acknowledge who is the one that receiving, and is so-called to tell that this is the right person and the right company that receiving the goods, right? Correct. But on the tablet itself, right, we can't use the tabs to tap on the glass, definitely. Yeah. So what we use Geo Tagging. So what we mean Geo Tagging is, you can see from the screen, I scroll down further down to the DOs, right? You can see there is a map here. Basically, we will tag the so-called geolocation of the transaction being taken place. So together with the signature of the receiver, like it match and so-called to prove that this particular transaction is being received by this person at these places.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, this Geo Tagging actually sounds about correct, because according to, actually I spoke to another friend of mine who is actually a lawyer. They were telling me that actually company stamp is not really needed to prove that the document is original. Okay, in fact, you know, if there is a geotagging location that can actually pinpoint where the location is, I think this is good enough for me to prove that this document has indeed been signed in this particular location at this particular time. I think this is a very key important aspect of this. Okay, so yeah, please continue.
Okay. So now we complete for the so-called backend monitoring. Now we see what customer received. So I go to my email box. As you can see, there are a lot of email that coming to my email box, which is just now is empty. So you can see there are some like status tracking email. basically you can receive emails such as to track the delivery status. So if you click on it, right, it basically is similar to the so-called like Lazada or you buy from the Taobao to track the delivery status. Yeah. So when I click, it basically pull out a screen to show you what's the current status of the goods to be delivered. Yeah. Okay. So before that, okay, we also move on to see when the so-called the delivery is being completed, we also receive emails such as the delivery confirmation that will be sent to customer. And you can see there is an attachment below. So this actually, this attachment is exactly the same things that we see at the back office. You can see the layout and the picture, and also the Geo tagging and the signature. Yeah, okay. This is being received by the customer as for them to do the safekeeping into a DMS system such as therefore.
Okay. So yeah, I think with that, I think at the end of the day, the document has to come back to the office, right?
Yes.
And you correctly put it that you need a document management system to collect the document. So on this screen itself, what you are seeing is actually our document management system called Therefore.
Yep.
And this screen itself, you can see that there is this delivery note, okay, that has been generated. And actually, let me just power up one of the delivery notes that's been generated, okay? And let me double click to open it. Okay, so this screen itself is showing the back end office, okay, the operation side, okay, when they are processing this, what they can see from the screen. So in itself, you can see the same document has already been saved in this particular format, together with the information as well as the geo tagging and also the signature of the documents. But one thing that is interesting here is that when this document goes into our document management system, it is able to do document linking, okay? Because remember earlier on, I mentioned that, you know, sometimes when you want to invoice your clients will ask you to prove that, you know, this product has been delivered, and also I make the purchase for this particular product. So because there's this commonality between the three documents, the invoice, the DO, and also the purchase order, the commonality could be the customer's purchase order number. Yep. Okay, so when I have this customer purchase order number, I can actually link these three documents together and package them together as a single PDF when I send out the invoices to the customer.
Yes, right.
So I think this is a very important aspect as to how we can show to the customer that, you know, to prove to them that, hey, you have actually made the purchase and I've delivered the goods. And these are the three documents that is needed for you to process the payment to me immediately. And because of the speed of how we can do this, okay, we are able to kickstart, okay, the so-called like a payment process almost instantaneously after the delivery is completed. No longer do we have to wait for the delivery crew to come back from the warehouse and then to throw the, you know, the delivery notes into a pile, okay, where, you know, I have to do manual sorting and manual matching and manual keying into the system, because all these are electronic, are all online. So I think this is a very, very, very good software. Yeah. Okay. So with that said, let me just move on, okay, into the benefits statement, okay. So before I begin the benefit statement, okay, let me just show this. Okay, what we have shown you today is actually the order processing workflow, okay, as I mentioned earlier. But one thing about this workflow is that I only show you the orders when it's being generated, okay, the delivery notes and all these things. But our Canon solution actually covers the entire spectrum of the order processing workflow, okay, starting from the capturing of the customer's PO into the ERP system. So remember earlier on, I tell you that customers' PO can come in all shapes and sizes. It can be, you know, different different customers, different format and stuff like that. So when I have these different formats, right, and I want to key into my ERP system for processing of the order itself, it takes a long time and it takes a lot of effort to just capture this. So we actually, in Canon, we actually have a scanning software that is able to capture customers' PO regardless of the format, extract the key important information and pump in directly into your ERP system for processing. But of course, today, we do not have the time to show you that portion of the spectrum. But of course, we also have to generate the DO and to disseminate the delivery order to the crew and to let the customer sign the order. And basically, this is something that you have seen today, okay, the live demo, okay. And lastly, you have the invoice matching of the customer DO and customer PO, okay. So this is important because, as I mentioned also, that the invoice matching is key towards proving to the customer that the delivery has taken place. You have accepted the goods in good working condition. And of course, we can actually help to speed up the invoicing process. And of course, lastly, also is about the invoice extraction. So this could be mainly applicable for accounts payable processes. Okay, maybe from your client's point of view, when they are receiving thousands of invoices day in, day out, or many invoices from different suppliers. So when they receive these kind of invoices, they need to extract the key important information into their back-end ERP or accounting system. So again, the similar capturing software that Canon has the ability to scan the different types of invoices and capture the important information out for them. So that is what we have shown you in a nutshell for today's session. Okay, so with that said, right, I also want to remind everyone that the smart POD system, at the core of it, we have generated for order processing. But I think one of the key usage of the order processing itself, of this smart POD, can be also used for field service reporting. Yes. Yeah, because we were talking about it earlier on. And in fact, in Canon itself, right, as you know, if you are using our Canon copier machine, our engineers will have to go down to your office to service the machine. So when they service this machine, I mean, being Canon, we are blessed with having a team to generate or to create the application for us. But perhaps, you know, in some other companies which you do not have the resources to put in to create an application from the ground up, this is basically what you can do for field reporting as well, right? Yes. Yeah, so I believe that this field reporting, this system can definitely be tweaked towards, you know, maybe aircon servicing, building management, or even, you know, in schools where you have, you know, the general admin department that is going around the school to inspect certain areas or certain, faulty items, and they can actually take a picture of the faulty items, put in the comments, and actually send it to the back-end office for processing as well. So this whole system, the flexibility of it is as such that you can tweak it, okay, in this manner. All right. So with that said, the benefits, okay, I've already mentioned a lot of times, okay, you can professionally create, share and distribute a delivery order or invoices. So imagine the dot matrix printout that you have, okay? It is, I would say that it is very limited to what you can do. But when you create your invoices or your DO in this manner itself, right, you can even customize it, okay, to whatever, you know, messages that you want to put in. You can wish customer, you know, National Day is coming up. You can wish customer Happy National Day. You can wish them, like, you know, Merry Christmas and stuff like that. Or you can even insert, I believe it's called trans promo, am I right to say that? Yeah, to insert things that, you know, maybe you can advertise for other products that you carry as well within the same invoices or DO. Okay, so this is something that cannot be done using traditional dot matrix printout. Okay, so I think this is something that is very interesting or very useful. Okay. So of course, we also can automatically link the PO, DO, and invoices for document matching. We reduce the manual keying of data and cut down human error. I think this point itself, Guan Long, is the number one thing that a lot of our customers are looking for, right? Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Because
and I think one thing for very important is the DO no longer only come back end of the day or the next day. Because if you process it using a paper forms, right, usually the DO only come back to the office for processing end of the day, or maybe the next day. So with this system, right, actually it's a real-time feedback. You can receive the DO immediately when there is a transaction being taken place outside.
Yeah. I agree. Because the real-time transaction details, that means on the same day itself, I can kickstart the billing process to the client already because I've processed it and I can send the invoice to the customer if the delivery, there's no dispute to the delivery, of course. Okay, so that is a very important aspect. Of course, we drastically shorten the whole process, thereby achieving prompt payment and improving the cash flow for the company. I think that's the number one thing that we want to do. And last but not the least, business analytics. Okay, I think a lot of focus has been going on around on big data and stuff like that. So when you have data that is your delivery orders, your delivery notes, you can when you capture all this information in a single information management system like our Therefore system, what you can do is you can do business analytics. You can run reports to know who are your top clients for a period of time for last year, which are the most, what are the products that is selling the best, okay, and what are the, which are the months that you will be very busy, which are the months that you are not so busy, and then you can definitely plan your marketing activities around the low months, or even, push certain new products to some of the top clients or top spenders, or even uncover why certain customers make a lot of purchase in a specific time and then gradually drop off from not buying anymore from you. Did they go to a competitor or stuff like that? So business analytics is very, very important when it comes down to marketing effort or even charting your business strategy moving forward. Okay, so I think that's the part. Let me take some questions, okay, that you have. I see some questions from the question and answer. Okay, Geo Tagging, okay, from EC Low, this Geo Tagging can be printed into PDF for long-term storage and tracing.
Yes, basically like what you see just now on the so-called the PDF invoice file, right? The particular so-called the picture is being so-called stored in the PDF file. And this can be further stored in the Therefore or DMS system for safekeeping.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that means to say that the information is actually captured on the document itself, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's why it can be used for long-term storage and tracing.
Yeah. So if you require a Geo Tagging in the so-called logical figure, so latitude and the altitude, right? So you can also store this one as indexes in the DMS.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Longitude and the latitude. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So Charmaine has a question. Okay. How this solution works, especially if most of our customers is in overseas. Will this work for overseas customers?
Yes. So basically when this tablet is bringing outside, right, it connect to the internet. So as long as your overseas partner, the delivery crew have the internet access, we can always push the delivery form to the driver or to the delivery crew for delivery to take place.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So the idea is that the outsourced partner in the overseas will have to be equipped with the application as well.
Yes.
Okay. And this is something that they can download from App Store or Google Store, right?
Google, we support Google iOS. We support Google Android, iOS, and also the Windows platform.
Or even Windows platform. Yes. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so basically they just have to download and they just have to load the delivery note itself. So they can actually, so even if my third party logistic is located in Indonesia,
no problem.
So they can go down there, let the customer sign, and then this the signed copy will come back to me immediately. Yes. If they have internet connection.
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, so I hope that answers Charmaine's question. Okay, Charmaine has another question. Does this solution needs to be installed to our courier services so that they can see the status of our products delivery to our customers? So I believe we accidentally answered that question also. Yeah, yes, Charmaine, we need to install the application, okay, for your clients. So it's just an app that you can download from Google or even App Store on the Apple platform or even Microsoft Store.
Microsoft, yes.
Okay, there's a Microsoft Store. I learned something new today. Okay. Yeah. Then do I have more questions? Okay, Colleen. Okay. Yeah, Colleen Chai. How to integrate into our in-house, Therefore, as well as DocuSign? Okay. Oh, so Colleen, you mean to say you are already a user of our Therefore system, okay, and you you would like to integrate this into the therefore system. Am I right to say that? Yeah, so I think the integration part, you can leave it to Canon. We will go in there and understand your business processes first. Okay, first and foremost, I think we have to, look into your current delivery processes and how it works. And then, of course, we can actually, once we have an understanding of that already, then we can see what are the categories. If you know the terminology that we use in therefore, what are the categories that we can configure to match the corresponding documents that is generated from the smart POD system. So that can be done. So of course, at the end of the day, I think if you really still want the customer to sign the document using a platform like DocuSign or HelloSign, we can actually bring in DocuSign or HelloSign as a partner to come in and help you to integrate that into part of your document. So for example, if there's some invoices that you need the customer to sign, okay, usually invoices you don't sign, well, some of the documents that you need to sign, okay, say contracts lah, okay, or even proposals lah, okay, that you've generated for the customer and you need them to acknowledge on the proposal itself. So you can actually save the documents in your therefore, okay, and then after that, at the click of a button, you can integrate it to DocuSign and then key in the relevant personnel that is supposed to sign the document, and DocuSign platform will automatically send the files directly to the signer. Okay, and when the customer logs into DocuSign, complete the signature, it will go into their DocuSign, and DocuSign will push back into therefore, and we can mark this document as completed. So I hope that answers the question. Okay. We have another question from Dennis. Okay, did the amended DO will have audit, report, and version control? The amended delivery order, will it have audit, report, and version control?
Okay, basically for the so-called amended DOs, right, we can capture the information before and after and log it in the audit trails and before we submit it back to the back office. Yeah, of course, we also can further so-called digital sign the PDF file to prevent this to be amended further in the digital way. Yeah.
Okay, so that means in a way you can impose security on the document itself to ensure that it cannot be tampered with after the document is signed by the customer.
Yep.
Okay, but of course there will be proper trails to it, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that's the question. Do I have any questions in the chat group? Let me just see the chat group itself. Okay, yeah, let me see. Interesting solution, can get in touch. Okay, so GL, thank you very much for noted on the request. Okay, okay, yeah, I think that's all the questions that we have so far. If I don't know whether there's any more items that you would like to add on, Kwan Long, into the system. How maybe you can share a little bit. We still have a little bit more time. Maybe you can share a little bit about some of the successes with our customers so far.
Okay,
yeah.
I believe that the reason that we wanted to impose this so-called the smart proof of delivery, right? The reason is to have a so-called real-time feedback from the customer. So imagine that if you deliver goods that maybe have some damage. So in the traditional way, people will mark in the paper, then maybe they will countersign. But this information basically only feedback to the back office end of the day or next day. So maybe the customer already urgently need the things. They have to call the office to say, "Hey, I need this to be redelivered." But back office will be unknown because they don't know what happening outside. So they will be saying, "Hey, sorry, I need to call my driver to confirm before I can so-called respond to your request." Yeah. So, but with this system, right, basically everything happened outside the world is being recorded in picture or in the tablet devices, and it's real time being transmitted back to the back office. So the moment that actually the back office receive this kind of information, right, actually we can route this information to the customer service officer. So they can immediately actually call out to the customer to say, I received a so-called feedback from this DO delivery. There are some item is broken. Now we are arranging for redelivery. So with this kind of so-called real-time feedback of the so-called delivery, right, actually it improves the so-called customer experience. So we all believe that with a happy customer, the so-called the regeneration of the revenue is over there.
Yeah, yeah. And in fact, actually, I think I remember which customer you are referring to. Yeah, I believe that the customer did tell me that it is very crucial for them because they are in a very fast-paced F&B industry. If they deliver, these particular products into a ship, for example, the ship has to go out by a certain time. If they discover that the eggs are broken, they need replacement eggs almost immediately, because if there's any delay, the ship goes out, there will be months without eggs already. so I think that is a very important aspect, because the moment you notice, I mean, in the comment column you say just broken. So assuming if today you, instead of broken, perhaps in the comments column you say broken, need replacement immediately. Okay, so if that happens, then maybe the back end office can activate another emergency delivery for extra fresh eggs, sets of eggs to the ships before they go out. Otherwise, they won't have eggs to eat. So with that said, I think that's quite interesting. Is there any other obvious benefits, or maybe even challenges that posed by the clients?
Okay, I think one concern by the customer is because most of the customers, they may still using legacy system. So they may have a difficulty to so-called amend their system to do so-called further automations, right? But the beauty of our solution is basically we try to minimize changes on your system.
Okay.
Because we are taking your output from your system and we pick out information from there and we start to do the so-called automations. So this so-called further eliminate the so-called difficulty to so-called make change requests to your existing system. Maybe no longer in service or is costly, especially like in SAP, they cost a lot to do some tweaking. So our system basically pick whatever output from the system and start the automation on it.
So in a way, you are saying that this system doesn't require me to retire my old ERP system, even if it's something that I created in the 1990s. Okay, somehow if I'm still using it today, if I can still access it. So that means as long as it is able to generate a printout, I will be able to intercept this printout and manage from there already. Oh, wow, that's a very interesting point. Okay, so another portion is the SAP portion, right? You were saying. Yeah. So I agree that sometimes it could be quite costly to do some tweaking to the SAP system in order to generate this. I mean, definitely, I believe the SAP system has the ability to do this as well. But to answer to Charmaine's question earlier, if you were to put SAP in the hands of your third-party vendor, okay, in Indonesia, I think that will be extremely costly for you to do. But if you were to do it, this system is just a app that you can download, a free app that you can download from the Google Play Store, and then you can actually enable it already. So I think this is something that is very, very useful. Okay, so any other so far, or perhaps challenges that you find it very interesting that you come across in our customers' environment?
Okay, I do come across a customer actually. They are very particular about the stamping. So they say I require a stamp. So what we can do is we can so-called have a module to register a stamp in our system.
Oh, so you are saying that the client do not accept the geo tagging?
They accept the geo tagging, but because it's the receiver party that require a stamp to process the payment. So they still want to see the so-called the company stamp of their own company present in the DO before they can make the payment.
Okay. Okay. So how do you then? Sorry, I cut you off. How do you then handle?
Okay.
That?
So basically, we will so-called prepare a so-called secure method for them to register the stamp in our system. But in order to use the so-called this stamp on the documents, right, we will send in a so-called OTP. So whenever there is a so-called delivery being taken place, right, we send this particular random OTP to the receiver. So the receiver, when they receive the good, they need to key in this OTP as a so-called authorization to use the stamp that registered in the system.
Oh, okay.
So this will so-called further protect this stamp being misused in our system.
Okay, okay. Oh, so basically it's like the banking system where you will be receiving an SMS and then you key in the SMS into the system at the point of signing. Then only will the company stamp be imprinted on the document itself?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's a very good way to do so. Okay, I think with that, we've come to the end of our session today. Okay, I do have some more questions from the okay, the amended PO. Okay, I'm not sure if I mentioned what is the name of the app that we can download. Oh, what is the name of the app that we can download? I mean, it's capture
on the go.
On the go. Yeah, but Rosalind, before you download, you need to engage Canon first. Okay, I mean the app is free for you to download for sure. Okay, but when you want to use the app to basically equip it with your delivery orders for your third party or for your internal delivery crews to use, we need to configure that for you first. Okay, so we can help you to, you have to engage Canon, okay, in order for us to help you to develop the system first. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. Okay, I think, yeah, I think that's about it. Okay, thank you very much for your time today. Okay, I hope that all of you have learned something new or something interesting that you can apply to your environment. If you still have any questions that you after today's session you thought about it, please feel free to reach out to your account managers. Your account manager will definitely answer your question. And like I said, this session is recorded and we will be sharing to you, if you require, the link, okay, to join, to revisit some of the topics that we've discussed today. And of course, to share it with your relevant department that you feel will benefit from such proof of delivery system. Okay, that's all for now. Thank you very much for your time today. And I hope to see you in the next webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.